you said about the dollar thing. And you touched a little bit about inflation earlier. You said, well, if someone wants to sell an orange in $10,000 or $100 or $5 or whatever, and I think like you said, the gold standard, and you spoke about changing the gold standards and stuff like that. So I would like to scroll back to that, like, what is inflation? And how do you assess the value of something with dollars or Australian dollars or whatever coin that is? We're going to touch base with that later on too, because we have an advice in that regards.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So inflation is also one of those words that is almost entirely misunderstood. And here we have an even bigger problem compared to, let's say, the other terms we talked about, because the other terms we talked about, I said, open a dictionary, go look at a dictionary, right? I'm not making stuff up, but here, even the dictionary is kind of problematic because the definition of inflation was distorted and changed even at the level of the dictionary. So I say that to really understand what inflation is, it's not enough to open a modern dictionary. You have to go to a dictionary that's probably at least 70, maybe even 80 years old to see the true and original and correct definition of inflation. Inflation is an increase of the money supply. That is what inflation is. Mm-hmm. And even if we look at the etymology of the word, in other words, how is a word derived, which doesn't always give us the meaning of a word, but you think, what is inflation? Inflation is to inflate. It doesn't mean to rise. It doesn't mean even to raise something, right? If I lift something up in the air, I'm not inflating it. I'm raising it. It's like a balloon. I'm raising it. But to inflate, exactly, it means like a balloon. You inflate the balloon. You make it bigger by infusing it with air. So the money supply doesn't rise, it inflates. Prices can't inflate. Prices can go up or go down, right? The banana can cost $1, it can cost $1,000. That's not inflation. That's increase in the price. So
increase in value.
Increase in price, because value is subjective.
Oh, okay.
Right, you can say, Tal, I will sell you my banana for 1,000 Australian dollars and nothing less. That's how much I value it. It's valuable to me. And I can say, well, that's fine. It's your banana, but I'm not going to buy it because I can buy a banana at the store here for $1, maybe even less than $1. But you value your banana much more than I value your banana. So I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to trade for it. But the price is $1,000.
Yeah. So inflation,
So inflation is increase of the money supply. Now, inflation in the era of fiat money, which means basically a government-controlled money supply, even though the central banks are supposed to be somewhat independent, but basically it's another branch of government de facto. So when we have a fiat money system, inflation is always a government policy. Always. Now, prices can go up, prices can go down. There are many things that can affect the prices. If you have a drought, right? If you have horrible weather, then, maybe fruits and vegetables are going to cost more, but that's not inflation.
Yeah, that's what do you call it?
That's rising prices. That's rising prices.
It's supply demand.
It's supply and demand. It's like if tomorrow morning people, everybody in the world for some reason wants twice as much chocolate as they want now, then in the short term, prices of chocolate are going to go up because people are buying much more than the stores have, and it takes time for the factories to adjust. So prices will go up. That's not inflation.
Yeah. Okay, I understand.
But
So
inflation is
so
an
inf-
increase in the money supply, and for the past 2 years, basically all governments in the world, certainly Australia included,
yes,
has seen massive inflation. I even checked that the Australian money
8.5.
supply has gone up about 30%. In other words, about 30% of all of the Australian dollars that ever existed were created in the last 2 years or so, or 2.5 years. Just think of that. All the Australian dollars that ever existed, about 30% of them, or something like that, something to that effect, were created just in the last couple of years.
I didn't know that it was 30%. We have been told that it was around the 8.5, and then what they did is,
well, if
like,
you go look,
if people
want to look this up, they can go look for M3 Australian money supply. Just look it up on the internet. You'll find all kinds of sites that'll something will eventually take you there, and you just look it up and compare
Also,
what was it say in 2020 or 2019, and what is it today, and yeah.
I also found out that in causes of inflation, what happens is sometimes the salaries increase, and like when there's inflation, there's a more supply of money. So sometimes the salaries increase according to the supply of goods that you need. Okay, because you need to eat an apple, and now the inflation made more supply of money, which caused the apple to cost more money.
Exactly. And what's been happening, and in many places. But if we want to talk about it, maybe I'll refer a little bit to more specific to Australia. Yeah, I mean, have wages gone up in Australia in the last months or maybe year? Yeah, wages have gone up, but prices, average prices have gone up more than wages. So if somebody if somebody was earning 10,000 Australian dollars, and now he's earning say 11,000, but prices have gone up more than his wages, he's worse off. So yeah, this is what has happened. This is what has happened. This is real life empirical data.